So how you doing, everyone? A couple years ago we bought a 55-inch LED TV and the LEDs went on it. When you turn it on there's no picture, and yeah, but if you shined a flashlight at the screen you could see the image, but there was no backlight. So after looking on YouTube, the solution I find is to replace the LED strips in the TV. So what I've done is I've taken the TV up here to the spare room, laid it on the bed without the mount on it. I already took the back cover off of it, and now I'm going to continue disassembling it. I already bought new LED strips for it, and I have them, so I have pretty much everything I need to fix the TV. And yeah, the wife is out getting some two-face tape, and I think that's the only other thing that I need. So yeah, let's give her a shot. I'll show you what I've got so far here. There's the TV on the bed. The cover is off, and what I've done already is this here's the power supply, and I've already checked it and it's good. What I've done is with the power cord plugged in and the power turned on, I checked the voltages over here, so I know this is good, and it's the LEDs that are the problem. That's how I solved that. So now what I've done is I've taken this cover here off. This has got to come off, and I've unplugged these two ribbon strips here. This is what runs the screen. This is your picture, goes to here, and this is for the remote control. So I've unplugged those two wires also. Now, just so I don't damage these, I'm going to unplug these from here also, and then I'm going to put this cover back on to protect that board, because I don't want to hurt that board and I don't want to hurt these ribbon cables. So that's what I'm going to do now. I've taken them off. As you can see, there's nothing here, and these are real easy. All you do is normally these little plastic pieces are up, so with the ribbon cabling you just put those down, and then you can just kind of pull the cable towards you a little bit and up, and they come right off. And same thing with this here. So that's all I've done. Now I'm going to put this cover back on, put the 3 screws that hold it, I'm going to put them back on, and then I'm going to continue from there. So I got the cover back on. I flipped the TV over on the bed, so now it's screen side up, and now I got to take the bezel off of the TV, and once the bezel is off, then I can take the screen off, and behind the screen there's some diffusers that have to come off, and then below that there's a reflector, yeah, like just a white tray with holes in it that the LEDs stick through, and I got to take that off. So anyways, first things first, I need to get in there and I need to pull these and release the bezel. Okay, so you just pop these clips up, and then the bezel should just come off. The end ones are hard. There. I have to be really careful with the TV screen because it's extremely fragile, and it's like probably $700 to replace the screen. So okay, so that's the bezel right there. Looks like a TV without the TV. Look, I'm on TV. Okay. So the reason why I got the blanket on the floor is because that's where we're going to put the screen. So now the next step is I have to remove this trim all around the edge. And to do that, I got to take out all these little screws all the way around. And I have to keep them separate from all the other screws I've taken from everywhere. So I just want to make sure this only goes on one way. So, there. So these look like they're the same. Mm-hmm. That's thick. Okay, they're not. This one's thicker, that one's thin. That's fine. We're just gonna take it off for now. So I ordered the replacement LED strips from shopjimmy.com. They weren't that expensive. It was like, I don't know, around 70 bucks or so. Then we had to ship them from the States. And we got a phone call from FedEx that they might have to pay duty on them. And still not sure how that worked out. I know if they cleared customs, but whether or not I have to pay anything, I'm not sure. So, see if we get a bill in the mail. But if this works, that means that I fixed the TV for $70 American and a little bit of my time. If it doesn't work, about $100. Not that big of a deal. These should all come off. So there's one.
Just like put it
Yeah, I need really safe places here. I'm just going to put it there. One. That one comes off nice and easy. These end ones. Is there a trick? Did I forget something? This one has tape on it going underneath. So what's that tape all about here? Don't know. Wonder why they did that. Where does that tape go? Well, that's fine. That tape is going to stay there. So that one's going to stay there. They must have put that tape there for a reason. Okay, so that's where we're at now. Now the next part is we got to get the screen off, I believe. Yeah. So that's the fun part. So, I'm going to think about this for a minute and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so I forgot one thing, important thing before you pull the screen out is this has to come out. So, what they say to do is you flip them up and then you take some tape and you tape them to the screen. So I got as far as getting them up out of there. I have to find myself some tape. I believe I got some painter's tape in the garage. I'm going to get that, and I'm going to tape this right up like that there so they can't get damaged. And then the next step is to remove the screen. Okay, so I forgot one thing, important thing before you pull the screen out is this has to come out. So what they say to do is you flip them up and then you take some tape and you tape them to the screen. So I got as far as getting them up out of there. I have to find myself some tape. I believe I got some painter's tape in the garage. I'm going to get that, and I'm going to tape this right up like that there so they can't get damaged. And then the next step is to remove the screen. Okay, so what they recommend is you get some plastic or something and wedge it underneath the screen like so, because you're not supposed to touch the underside of the screen with your fingers. And this will help spread the weight a little bit because this is very fragile. So I got one under this side, I'm going to put one under that side, and you can see I got the painter's tape holding them little circuit boards up. So now it's kind of tricky to find a spot to wedge this under. It's not as easy as it seems. So I cheat and I use light. Trying to find a place here. So I don't want to damage anything. This side of the TV is a lot more solid than the other side here. Okay, so that's that. Just going real careful underneath. I don't want to damage anything. Okay, so that's that. Now, the idea is I'm going to lift this up and put it on that blanket on the floor. And I'm debating if I should do this myself or wait for my wife to get home and she can help me. Because Nicole, you don't want to do it, do you?
No.
No. Let's just give this a quick trial here. So it's not so bad. Okay, there it is. So that's that. Okay. Nobody walk on that.
Okay.
So now what we have left on the bed. So what we have left on the bed looks just like a white screen. So what this really is there's a couple of diffuser panels here to even out the light. So the next step is we got to take off, it's like another bezel, and this holds the diffuser sheets in place. So same thing, just have to go around it, loosen it all up, and then it'll come off. Okay, so the bottom of the bezel is a little bit more difficult to get off. You just kind of have to work at it. It does come off. I'm using a thin screwdriver and I'm just kind of getting underneath it to free it up, and then it seems to be coming, except for here. There you go. That's the last one. It's supposed to be the last one. Okay, so that's the bezel to hold the diffusers down. And there's two of them, or there's supposed to be two of them, and they need to be put back in the same as they are now. So apparently that's important because what they do is they make sure that you have even light over your whole TV. So what we're going to do, what they recommend you do is you just take some tape and you take the two corners. There's two of them. There's that one and there's this one. And just put some tape around here and some tape around there, and then you know exactly where they go. So we'll just do that. You don't have to be as careful with these as you did with the screen. But this is all that we're going to do. We're just going to go like that. And then we'll do the same thing with this end. And then we're going to remember that the side that we're taking off is actually the top of the TV. Okay, so I'm going to take them off. They're kind of heavy actually. Okay, now where am I going to put them? We're going to put them right on top here.
Is that safe?
Yeah, that's okay. These are all the LEDs right here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the LEDs. And these are little standoffs. These little standoffs are these little white pins underneath. So I have to flip it over and I have to get all these little white standoffs off. So to take out those little standoffs, it's pretty simple. You just squeeze them, and then when you're squeezing them, you can just push them in, and you go around the whole TV, and you do that with all the different ones, and then you flip it back over, and you'll be able to take that cover off. Okay, so that's what we've been trying to get to, the LED strips. So there you have it. Now it's just time to replace them. What I've done is I've taped all the wires where they belong. Why? Because I'm a chicken. So instead of struggling on where everything goes, everything is taped where it goes. And then, as far as placement's concerned, it's pretty simple because, and the new ones have this too, they have a one dot, and then here they have a long one. So a long and a short. And I'm just going to do one strip at a time. That's the plan. Okay, so to take these strips off, I already started this one, but all you do is just take a putty knife or whatever, get underneath it, and then they don't come off that bad. Maybe they do. There we go. It's just double-sided tape that holds them on. And that's it. Oops. Now you see that wire? You don't want to lose that wire. Put that right back where it is. So there's one set gone. We'll clean off that tape later. Actually, it's still sticky. I could be real Dutch and use it again. So we'll get on this one. Same thing. Okay. Look at that, one of the lenses came off. This is, so I was reading, I don't know if you noticed, but the new strips, they have a different lens on them. And from what I was reading, this is why, because these ones had a tendency to come loose. And if they come loose while you're watching TV, it'd be a pain. Okay, so here's the first new strip. And it already has sticky tape on the back, so we'll just take the protective cover off. And then this one here is the A. So this one goes here with the circle. Wow, and that stuff really sticks. So yeah, you got to be real careful when you put this down, because once it's down, it's down. Okay, so that's an A. Now we need a B. So we'll take a B, and then we're going to put the B over here. Actually, we're going to put the B over here. It's going to plug into that one, and it's going to set here. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this tape off because I don't want to mess myself up. Okay, and then we'll take the tape off from underneath it. So that's our first one right there. And then I'm going to just do the same thing for all the rest of them, and that will be it. So I find it a lot easier if I don't pull the protective layer all the way off of the two-face tape on the bottom. It makes it a lot easier when you grab the next one to plug it in the end before you stick it down. Because if this one's all the way down, it's very difficult to plug the next one into it. So basically these two plug together to make one strip, and then they need to be glued down. So it's a lot easier to leave that a little bit from the end, plug them in. And this one here, I'm going to just start it and fold it out the side the exact same way, so then I can put them down while they're already plugged in. I think it'll be easier. There it is. Everything is installed, all the LED strips. Everything is plugged in. the way it was. So now we're going to start putting all that stuff back on here. Have to be real careful with this thing because it's extremely flimsy. It's just a piece of paper. That's all it is. Just a piece of paper. Now, this is either going to work or not. Looks pretty good. Looks like every hole has an LED. So that's a good sign. Okay. Next step is to reinstall all of the standoffs. Very, very important. We have them all right here. Okay. So these are all the standoffs. We need to put them all back in. Like so. These keep the diffusers up off of the LEDs, keeps them from sagging so you get even light distribution, all of that stuff. And they also hold this piece of paper down, this reflector, I guess is what I'm going to call it. You can call it whatever you want. It's just a real flimsy piece of paper.
I'd call it paper.
Now we're going to put the diffuser back on. Again, there were 2 sheets. So they're going to go back on exactly the way they came off. Oops. Take the tape off the corners. Just take a quick look underneath, make sure that everything is the way it belongs. Nothing is tipped over. The reflectors are all okay. Everything is fine. Okay, and the next thing is to put on
Like that.
this
Square.
plastic here. This has to go on next. Okay. And
Okay.
the heavy piece, the thick piece, goes here. Okay. Just go around, make sure that all those tabs are underneath where they belong. Okay.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay. You recording?
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna put this back on. Set it in the frame. And you put your end down. Just lay it down. Not in the frame. Here, I can get it. I believe that's good. Okay, so that's all done. So now we got to put the metal rails back on the sides to hold the screen down. And then when that's done, put the bezel back on, put all this stuff back where it belongs, and we're all done. I got the frame back on. It's all screwed in. Have to be careful because there's two different lengths of screws. There's a couple of short ones. I think there's three, I believe three. The ones here on the bottom are longer. 1, 2, 3, yes. So there's three longer screws to hold this on. And then all the other three brackets are held on with shorter screws. So when you're putting it back together, you have to be mindful of where the screws came from and to get them back in the right spot. So now we're going to pop the bezel back on, and then we'll flip it over. We're going to hook up the wires for the screen and for the infrared sensor, and then we'll plug it in and we'll see if it works before we put the back cover back on. Not that it matters, because if it doesn't work, I don't know what I'm going to do anyways. Just record. I'm going to put these two things back on. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm going to reconnect the screen to that, I'm assuming it's like a driver card. It's a T-Con or whatever they call it. I don't know. But they warn that it's very easy to break these little ribbon cables. So you have to be real careful with them. So that's where they came off. And what you do with these, okay, so the little doors are open, and oh, that one wasn't. So you just set it in there, and then you close the door. You just set it in there and close the door. And the same thing down here. Of course, I can't see. That's always the issue. I think I got it. If the TV doesn't work, this will be the first thing I check. There, I think it just went in.
Yep.
And then we close the door. If the doors don't close smoothly, it usually means there's something wrong. Okay, and we're going to put this cover back on. That's just a little bit of protection for it. Okay. And the other two wires on the top, that's for the remote control sensor. And yeah, not really sure what else. Oh, for the little LED light that shines there. And I'm hoping I didn't forget any parts inside the TV. But I think we're okay. Snug them up. Okay. And then hook this back up. And then we hook. Always has to be one stubborn one. There it is. Okay. So now we're going to give it some power. Hopefully I'm far enough. I'm good. So we'll just plug this in. Plug this in. It's either going to work or it's not going to work. Yeah, we have a pilot light, so something is good. And then, okay, get down here, Nicole, and we're going to lift it up, and I'm going to turn it on. Let me see which one's the power button? That one. Okay, so let's see if it works. Aha! Look at that. The TV works. It's all LG.
And white.
Well, it's working, right? We saw the LG. If I turn it, see, it says no signal.
Yay, it's working.
Okay, so it works. Okay, and we'll turn it off.
Okay.
Okay. So, there you go, everyone. If your widescreen TV, LCD TV, or sorry, LED TV, all of a sudden doesn't work, has no picture, but the sound still works, take a flashlight, shine it at the screen. If you can see an image, then that means that the LEDs are burnt out, or there's a few burnt out and that just the TV won't start. And this is how you fix it. You replace the LED strips in the TV, and then everything will be good again. And that's it. I hope you liked the video. Please leave a comment. If you like my videos, please subscribe. And until next time, take care. Okay, so today's the next day, and there's the TV running. I got it set up upstairs in the rec room. So now we have an alternative space to watch TV. And there you go. $100 roughly, and our TV is pretty much as good as new.
There's all the steering, the brakes. It does have the front sway bar on the
So again, if you like this video and found it informative, please leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe. Until then, catch you later.